right along, we are going to look at some of the inner workings and some of the things we've already talked about. We first address issues that has to do with you as an individual, you know, your personality, your money personality. We talked about that. Are you a spender? Are you a saver? You know, how do you make money decisions, you know, and how do you address issues that has to do with money, you know. Personality, you know, as we've already stated, is another aspect of your relationship that will help play a major role in how you deal with finances. You know, the fact that you're married and the days that lead after will really be impacted by how well you make money decisions and how you address them. You know, we have to pay attention to everything when it comes to the way we prepare for marriage and how we talk about it. We have to pay attention to the details and make sure that we know the person we're getting married when it comes to financing. You know, it's very, very important. In today, you know, where there's so much knowledge and resources, some couples even prior to get married want to make sure that they run a credit check to make sure they both know where they stand. And it's up to the couple. You know, my view on it is it's up to you as to how you like to go about that. But the key thing here is that each party should make sure they are not knowingly hiding anything from their spouse. So if you know something that you know about your finances, you have to talk about it, you know, so that if you decide to run a credit check, it would just be confirming, you know, what you've already disclosed to your spouse. I think the best approach is talking about it than letting, you know, documents prove it, so that it won't become almost like a transaction. It's a relationship. So I believe in using relational approaches than having some form of contractual agreements and things like that. But in any way, talking about these issues always help. Talking about these issues always go a long way to help us address issues that might affect us down the road. Yes. So one other thing that I want all of you to think about too is, as you go through this process of budgeting, you know, talking about finances, dealing with debt, you know, ensuring that you're getting the help and resources you need to improve your finances. There's something interesting going on here, that you're probably doing all these because growing up you probably never had the opportunity to learn from anybody as to how you can handle finances. That's what led you into the situation. So moving forward, the buck has to stop with you. And what is beautiful about this is that you're laying the groundwork to make sure that the children that you are raising in your marriage with your spouse are going to be very financially literate. They're going to be very confident about marriage, about money. They're going to know how money works. They're going to be able to make good decisions with money and know really how to address issues when it comes to their finances. So we're passing it along here. We're making sure that our children, as they grow up, they'll really be ready. They'll be prepared. We're preparing them for a financial, to be financially responsible, you know, so that their future will, they can reduce the odds of they being in debt or, you know, living in a way that they are not able to sustain themselves. So let's use this as an opportunity, you know, to teach them. And some couples can even take this another step along by, you know, being able to set tasks for your children and giving them allowances. You know, I've always often said that there are two ways that you make money. Either you earn it or you steal it, you know, and we have to make sure we're earning money. So teaching children these things, and as they see you do it, as they see you manage money, and as you talk about it, you're really setting the next generation to be very successful in ways that maybe you were not taught, and you had to self-teach, self-educate to get yourself to that level. So this is a very, very important part. How are we passing these skills on to our children and the generation after us? We have to make sure that we do a very good job with that, because it's going to fall on them to make sure that they will also pass it along as they grow up and as they become independent and as they run companies and they start their own families as well, you know. So in all of this, it's important that as we invest our time and resources into this, we'll be able to really build a good financial picture or financial atmosphere in our home, to make sure that we're dealing very well with our finances and we're passing it on to our children. Now, I also want to say that we might not always get it right, and that is okay too. So let's say you start a budget, you put a budget together as a couple, and 1 month down the road you realize that you fell off the wagon, the budget is not going well, you went to do grocery and you spend more than what you planned. It's okay, because it takes time to be able to really fully understand how much you spend. I remember years ago I had a friend who called me and said, we have a family of 4 just like you. How much do you spend on grocery? And I thought it was interesting because it's one of those things where, yes, you do buy food, you buy all the things that you need for a home, but sometimes it's hard to put a number on it if you don't have it in a budget. So putting the numbers down sometimes will not directly reflect. And there are some months that you probably spend a little bit more on certain things than other months. So give yourself time to make it work. So at the beginning, when you start the process of working on your budget and it doesn't work, keep at it, refine it, go back to the drawing board, see how you can move money around, and then plan it again for the next month and see how successful you can be. It takes some time for you to become familiar with the patterns of your spending and the things that you spend money on and how you're able to move money around. So let's not give up if we don't see success, especially when it comes to budgeting. Saving is also another area. If you don't see initial success, don't be discouraged. Go back to the drawing board, prepare, and try it again. If you're paying off debt and at some point you feel stuck and you see the mountain of debt and you realize it's difficult to get through, don't let that discourage you. Do what you can. But what's important is that keep working on it. Keep your focus on it to make sure that you can really get through it, to make sure that you can achieve your goal. I think one great resource that we have used in the past is Dave Ramsey. He wrote the book, The Total Money Makeover. It's one that we will strongly recommend. It's a great book. It offers resources. It has a workbook that helps you to really plan how to pay off debt, how to save, how to invest. And he also has a video blog on YouTube. You can type Dave Ramsey and watch his show. I have watched several of them. There was a young man who had his car payment was $1,500 a month, $1,500 a month. His car payment. I don't know if it was a car, maybe it was something that could fly. I'm not sure, but again, you know what Dave Ramsey would say. He really dealt with him very well. So we all have resources that we can learn. Even if you're doing well, there's always something new that you can learn that will put you on the path even to be extremely successful. So let's always learn. The Total Money Makeover is highly, highly, highly recommended. It's a great resource that can help you do that. So let's keep working on it. Let's not be discouraged even when setbacks come in. Let's also, in all of this, give ourselves space. Not to say that to fail, but give yourself space for the unexpected, because in this world unexpected things will happen too. I've often said that when it's Friday and your car breaks down, you will do anything you need to do to get the car back on the road before Monday, because you're going to need it for work. In the same way, if we're prepared, we've planned ahead, we know we've anticipated that, something could happen. So we've allocated funds and resources to take care of that. It helps us to get through those difficult times. It helps us to be able to address those. And sometimes if we're not able to address it, meaning that we'll have to allocate, funds from something that we're planning on doing to take care of that, it's fine as long as we're able to get back on track to making sure that we are working towards our goals is what is very important here. So the key thing I want you to take from this is know that it's okay if sometimes you're not able to address those issues or you're not able to take care of the issues as they come. Now, there's also another aspect of this that I also want to touch on. I spoke earlier about dealing with family members as to how you handle finances, and we talked about how sometimes it's important for us to give back. We have to pass it along because somewhere in our lives, somebody within our family or even somebody outside our home supported us in a way that really got us or put us on the path to being successful. But there are also times where you will come across people, whether in family or friends, whose main goal is to take undue advantage because of your generosity. And it's important that we are able to identify who those people are and make sure that we talk to them about what they need to do to be responsible. I think that these are every family has one, and it's important that we address these issues and not just let them slide, because in the end we will have to be called on to really address them if we don't. So sometimes those are hard discussions that we need to have, and so that it will help your relationship and will not become a burden on your marriage, because already as a married couple there's so much that you are dealing with, and you have to be sure that you find ways of helping family members. But when it comes to a time where you need to talk to people and address certain issues and let them know what you are able to do and what you cannot do, it's important that we do that. Sometimes no is also an answer. So let's think about these things and let's ensure that it's contributing to our relationship and it's helping us to get to where we need to be. This is Sunlight Radio Online. My name is Akwesi Opong, and we are talking about marriage and money today. Today is the big M's. We are talking about money and marriage, and we will be right back. thank you for joining us today on Sunlight Radio Online. This is Akwesi Opong, and we are talking about money and marriage today. We are looking at how money affects our marriage and some of the things that we need to be aware of. As we talk through this, I think a few weeks ago we spoke about the roles in marriage. What are the roles in marriage? And one of the things we talked about was work and our ability to make an income. And it's important that as we talk about finances, you address those issues as to, who makes what, who brings money in, and how both of you work together to keep your home. And again, it's important here that as couples, you do realize that the issue here is not who brings home, but what's important is the fact that you're both contributing in a way. Because there are some homes where the husband stays home to take care of the children and the wife goes out to work because she's more skillful or maybe has a high-paying skill that could bring in more money. And every family dynamic is different. It could be that they have children, and putting children in daycare for both of them to work will be just throwing money out of the window. It's really not worth it. So what's important is that one person staying home, it's very important. And there are so many dynamics to it. I often say what is important is your ability to sit down and talk about these things and, research your options you have, look at what works. But talking about money and marriage will always bring success and will help us to really be successful as couples. So we've talked about all the issues that come up with marriage, and some of them are difficult to listen, but we want to look at the upside. What are some of the great things when it comes to married couples and money? There's got to be something good in there, and I believe it is. And I'm not just saying this. There's a website called moneyunder30.com. They have some resources about, some of the upside, some of the great things that as a married couple, money will do for you, or some of the benefits of the financial benefits of money if you're married. Maybe I can put it that way. So let's look at this. So challenges aside, getting married can have serious financial advantages. It is a great way to get double your income without doubling your expense. Think about it. If you're single, you probably will be living in what? A 1 or 2 bedroom apartment or 1 or 2 bedroom house, and you'd be paying whatever your mortgage or rent is. If you're married, both of you share that cost. So you're just getting, you're getting one for the price of, half each one brings, however you look at it. And so it's very important that we know that there are good aspects to this as married couples navigate this and think of how to best deal with issues when it comes to their relationships and money. So we already talked about having a joint bank account and how that can simplify things. I talked about the fact that it brings trust and transparency, but this resource from moneyunder30.com is telling us that it simplifies things. It's just so simple. You have one bank account, all the money goes in, you can see what is happening. Combined incomes may lead to a better mortgage rate. This is something that I haven't even thought about, that if you have a combined income and you're looking at buying a house, the cost of borrowing the money to buy your house could be less, so that you pay less interest rate just because of the fact that you're married. That is a great advantage. And not only that, if you're able to show that, the money all goes into one account and you spend it from that account, you pay your bills and all of that, it goes a long way to save you even more money. Now, those who have credit cards, another benefit to this is that joint credit cards can help both spouses build credit. So some couples have credit cards where is joint. So joint meaning that they have both names on the credit card, and because they applied for it with double income, it actually sets them up to be able to build their credit and really have a good credit score. If you live in the part of the world where credit score is important, this is one of the benefits. And I'm sure for a lot of countries, if you're borrowing money for anything, and as a husband and wife you show your income, it's really going to provide a solid financial basis for guaranteeing the loan. So there are benefits to it that we have to be aware of. You get a better rate on home and auto insurance. That's another thing. So if you're buying insurance to protect your home or your car or any other thing, or even health insurance, you'll be able to get better rates as well. And then you can share your social security. So that is when you've retired. Some companies call it your pension. So after you've raised your children, your family, and you retire, as a couple, the benefit of it is that the money you get from either your investments, maybe you made some investments as you were growing, you were working, and that helps you to take care of those years when you are not working. And having a husband and wife both having those resources will help you so much in making sure that you're comfortable in your later years. Yeah, being able to manage your money well, or being married, helps you with your taxes. Married couples pay less taxes. So again, I don't know if that's an incentive to get married. I'm not sure people will do that, but the point I'm saying here is that if you are married, no. And I think a lot of people are aware of this, that if you're married, it's an incentive. It helps reduce your tax burden. So it's not all bad news. There are some great news here when it comes to being married and dealing with your taxes and finances. Okay, so as we move along, generally when you are married, you have, because we talked earlier about the fact that you save money as a result of the both of you sharing one house and do cooking together, raising your family together. So that means it gives you more money to save. So that's another positive aspect when it comes to our finances as married couples. So there is so much that goes for us when it comes to issues that has to do with our relationship, our money, and how we handle it. What's important here is the steps that we take to ensure that we are setting up a good foundation to not only handle our money, but also we are setting up a good foundation to be able to build our relationship. All of this points to one thing: that how well are we being transparent? How well are we opening up to really build this together, knowing that we are in this together as husband and wife? Transparency, trust, and knowing that everything that we do as husband and wife is going to build our marriage. And if we do this well, as we've learned, that it's really going to bring us to a point where we'll have less debt. We'll have more money to save. We'll have more money to invest. If we do our work well and talk to investors, we'll be able to put money away for days that we need it. We'll be able to fund our children's education. And I often say that when it comes to married couples, one of the things that you should have on your budget is things that you do to build your marriage. And I think as we're talking about money, that's one thing I would like to end today by saying, that plan to invest money into your relationship. Because if we pay all the bills, if we do all the things that we have to do, and we don't pay any attention to our relationship, our marriage has to outlive all the things that we do, our career, our children. The children should leave and the marriage should be there. The marriage shouldn't leave before the children. The Bible makes it clear that, the man will leave, and in the leaving, they have to leave the marriage of their parents behind as they go. So it's important that we have a line item in our budget for things that we do to grow our marriage and to develop our marriage, and I often talk about, things you do every month, even if it's going for coffee or going out to see a movie when the season permits, going out to eat every so often. If you're on a budget, I'm not saying you do this every day, but as much as you're able to afford, spending some money to invest into these things are important. What is sad is couples who have so much money but their marriage is falling apart. Then it means that they are not making the right investment. Sometimes you have to invest into going to marriage retreats where you spend a night or two. You can, stay in a hotel, join other marriage couples and learn certain resources and things about what will make your marriage better. And one that I'll strongly recommend is Weekend to Remember. If you go online and type Weekend to Remember, if you're in North America, it's a great event. Like, budget something in your finances every year to attend a conference, and that is something that will help to make sure that your marriage will thrive and it will be there for a long time because you are working on it. Just as you're working on your finances, you're also working on your marriage, and it takes money to be able to work on your marriage as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Akwesi Opong. We are so glad that we had you today. We hope that you picked up some valuable skills and tools to help you deal with finances when it comes to your marriage. If you want to learn more about this or any of the other resources that we have, go to our website, enjoylifewithyourspouse.com, and we'll see you again here next week. Bye.